Greetings, YouTube. So, I found myself using a metaphor the other day that you can't build a strong structure on a foundation of sand. And it's true, it's corny, it's not original, I didn't think of it. And it was pertinent to the conversation in hand. But it got me thinking about, well, Minecraft and housing. Gopher refuses to build Minecraft structures that are not architecturally sound, even though physics in the world doesn't work that way. It's very cute. And in the real world, you want to make sure that you're building on something solid. That either you're on bedrock, or your foundation is built in such a manner that it's going to weather the stresses of the weight of the building and the compaction of the earth beneath it. And if you build your structure on sand, you're going to be in trouble. And one of the things in America that we take for granted is that a lot of the metaphorical structures that white Americans take for granted are built on solid foundations. And a lot of us can't figure out why other people can't build on solid foundations. And the reality is that those solid foundations are foundations of racism. Endemic, systemic racism. I'm going to give you an example. This is not the only one. At one time, the United States government backed 120 billion, with a B as in boy, $1 billion of loans to Americans to buy houses, their first houses, to encourage home buying as a method of creating a strong middle class. Yes, radical that the U.S. government did this, isn't it? Nowadays, they would want to take all that away from us and make sure it was privatized, and then make sure that we didn't ever get the houses in the end. And then probably throw us in prison so we can become cheap labor. But $120 billion is a lot of dollars. And particularly saying this is in the past. And it allowed a whole lot of Americans, millions of them, to buy homes and to start dynasties of solid middle-class families. But it wasn't all strawberries and cream. You see, only the white people got those loans. People of color didn't. And in fact, the white people that got the loans weren't allowed to buy houses that were too close to black people. I'm not making this up. That's how we, the American people, created the ghettos. They were by design. We forced black people into smaller and smaller areas because the people who owned property realized that if there were black people in their zones, they wouldn't be able to sell houses to all that lucrative government-backed money that was out there just waiting to be had. So social pressures were applied. Oh, I'm sorry, your loan didn't come through. Oh, I apologize. You know how these government records are, these forms. It just took too long, and another family got that property. I'm sorry, this neighborhood just really isn't for you. I want you to know, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that this is the right kind of neighborhood. And it was a million little things like that that pushed people of color out of the neighborhoods that became all white, solid middle class communities. And this allowed them to have foundations of equity, which allowed them to put their children to college, which allowed them to have lucrative and comfortable retirements, which allowed them to leave a lot of money and property to their children. Wealth that people of color never had, and still don't. That we, the people, created the endemic systemic racism in America that is still echoing down through the annals of history and the present. So when people complain about, oh, those poor blacks or poor Hispanics, we made them that way. and the system is still stacked against them. As I've talked here before on my channel, a white person with a criminal record has a better shot at getting a second interview for a job than a black person without a criminal record. Yeah. It hasn't stopped. And when white people fight tyranny, it is declared patriotism. When people of color fight tyranny, it's called rioting. White people can open carry, black people get shot and gunned down because they have toys in their hands. The system is broken, and it's been broken for a very long time. It was designed to be broken. It was built to be broken. The system has not failed people of color in America. The system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. All the horrible things that have befallen the people of color in America are a feature, not a bug. But now we're aware of it, even some of the really white people. And now we need to start doing something about it. And in my case, I can vote liberal, progressive, and I can boost the signal. And when people of color complain, and they need an ear, and they need an ally, I can listen. I can let them speak. I will not speak for them. I will let them know that I am aware, that I am awake, and that I am opposed to those that founded the system, that sustain the system, and want to further that system. Which is why I am opposed to social conservatives, which is why I am opposed to political conservatives, which is why I am opposed to the Republican Party and the Tea Party, which is owned by the Koch brothers, and of course, the Libertarian Party, which makes the Republican Party look like the Greens. We did this, and it's high time we undo it. But at the moment, first thing we can do is admit we did it.